Well, we're back again with yet another No Fluff analysis, and this time we're going to be talking about the Gala Dragalia Remix Summon Showcase running from the 13th of November until the 16th of November UTC. Let's get straight to it with the first adventurer added with the showcase, the 5-star Wind Staff, Formal Noelle, the Bridge Builder. Formal Noelle's first skill is Goodwill Mission, a 40-second hit point regen for ticks of 25% recovery potency, as well as the standard 15% strength buff that lasts for 60 seconds. Formal Noelle's second skill is Grim Missive, dealing 1425% damage to enemies ahead, dispelling a buff and lowering their poison resistance by 10% for 30 seconds. This resistance reduction does not stack, and the skill Grim Missive is shareable for 6 Skillshare points. Noelle has the standard staff recovery potency co-ability, and her chain co-ability grants wind units 13% strength upon inflicting poison. Formal Noelle's first ability is Resolute Ambassador. Using Goodwill Mission, Noelle's regen heal grants Noelle the Friendly Ties buff. This buff is consumed with a Force Strike to increase the team's max hit points by 15%, or HP recovery if the HP buffs reach their limit. The Friendly Ties buff does not stack and is completely consumed by the Force Strike. Noelle also has Freeze Resist, and her final ability is 30% Poisoned Punisher. Formal Noelle as a Wind Staff naturally competes against Lowen. In the context of the Master Ciela fight, Noelle is faster to cap out the team's hit point buffs due to her hit point buff being on a cheaper SP cost. The lack of a defense buff on Noelle shouldn't be too disastrous. With Templar Hope on the team, Lowen only provides a small portion of the team's defense buffs. With a regen lasting for 40 seconds, Noelle shouldn't have too much trouble stacking up a lot of regen buffs, but it does open yourself up to a lack of emergency heals. With Noelle's ability to reduce poison resistance, Noelle can allow a team to continue using Poison Punisher abilities while also being almost up to par to Lowen in terms of utility. While Halloween Melsa had the same effect, she also took a DPS slot and wasn't really able to compete with Silas's utility for solo teams. Formal Noelle isn't as obviously outclassed, so I think she's worth experimenting with. Next along we have the 5-star Wind long-range Manacaster, Formal Joachim, the Resolved Hunter. Formal Joachim's first skill is Hound Shot, dealing 1012 damage to enemies in a line, inflicting Stormlash, a new affliction. If this is used directly after Ace Operator, Formal Joachim's second skill, Hound Shot will deal 2064% damage and also inflict poison for 30 seconds while interrupting Ace Operator. Hound Shot is shareable for 6 Skillshare points, and when shared uses the 2 Infliction variant. As mentioned, Ace Operator is Joachim's second skill, inflicting poison on enemies ahead for 15 seconds. Joachim has the standard Manacaster Gauge Accelerator co-ability, and his Chain co-ability grants wind units 8% water resist after inflicting Stormlash. His first ability is 30% Stormlashed Punisher, he also has Freeze Resist, and his final ability is 30% Poisoned Punisher. If we oversimplify Formal Joachim's kit, he effectively has 2 skills with roughly 1000% damage mods, inflicting Stormlash with one and Poison with the other. The dual Stormlash and Poison Punisher in his ability should also provide a lot of hidden power. Against Ciela, being the sole inflictor of Stormlash should mean that it maintains decent uptime even as the fight drags on, but otherwise Joachim is all about the damage with no utility. As for other rate ups on the showcase, there's also Gala Luca. And while not part of the showcase, there's still the Wyrmprints added with the update, the first of which is the 5-star Wyrmprint A Man Unchanging, granting 30% Poisoned Punisher. While many bemoaned the loss of 30% Poison Punisher from the Fires of Hate, this print might not be as useful nowadays. The Plaguebringer, a 4-star print with 25% Poison Punisher, still does a decent job. Working out which of A Man Unchanging or the Plaguebringer prints to use is going to come down to experimentation and is probably going to vary on a case-by-case basis, as each weapon class with access to poison will have different print preferences and you'll have to juggle the opportunity cost of using a large Wyrmprint slot versus a small one. For example, in double buff compositions this will generally mean exchanging the strength double buff and poisoned Punisher prints between 4-star and 5-star variants. The other Wyrmprint added with the update is the 4-star Wyrmprint Beautiful Gunman, granting Manacaster units 17% critical damage and also the Sword's Boon affinity for strength bonuses. Yet another Manacaster-centric print, this is conditionally good. Crit damage prints are typically only worthwhile if you already have a decent amount of crit. For a Manacaster like Lapis, this has a lot of value due to the crit in her kit, but it might suffer from diminishing returns if you are already using Feline Hospitality, a crit damage double buff print, in order to take advantage of Water's double buff / Karina meta. Ilya and Sharpshooter Joe also have a decent amount of crit in their kits, leaving Joachim as the only Manacaster I'd 100% use Enter the Blue Rose on instead. As a whole, both units introduced with the showcase have something new to offer. Noelle brings poison resist reduction utility to the Wind Staff class, while Joachim introduces our first Wind Manacaster as well as the Storm Lash deflection. I think Noelle will make a bigger impact on solo teams, reducing the time taken for auto teams to chew through Ciela's health bar and allowing the Templar Hope, Ranzel, Silas team to use Poison Punisher, or even allowing the use of Louise or Hawk for their larger DPS against poisoned enemies. Joachim will likely have to be piloted to make the most out of his kit, unless Cygames has introduced special behaviour for a formal Joachim AI to make proper use of his S2 interrupt. In this case, Joachim offers big damage as well as the chance to play with an adventurer with a higher skill ceiling. I don't think I'll be putting on this showcase without any encouragement, but the Fluff is definitely strong with this one. I am not entirely comfortable with calling Noelle a waifu, but your mileage may vary. After all, I'm not your boss, do what you want. As always, thank you very much for watching until the end. Take it easy, stay safe, and I wish you luck in your upcoming pulls.